Hey Falcons, this is Mrs. Mikett in the Albany High School Library. I'm here to share out my top 10 book titles for summer reading. Let's get started. First, we have We Are All So Good at Smiling by Amber McBride. This is a verse novel featuring Whimsy, a Black teenager who was clinically depressed and spending inpatient time in a mental health treatment center. She's navigating her own experiences and pain and connects with another boy in treatment named Ferry. They both deal with their trauma by finding hope in their friendship and shared experiences. There are themes of magical realism in this book as they imagine concepts of the forest, fairies, magic, some ghosts, and lots of fairy tales to deal with their new reality. Next, we have Flooded, Requiem for Johnstown. This is by Anne Berg. This is also a novel in verse. This is a historical fiction title about the true story of the Johnstown, Pennsylvania's tragic collapse of the South Fork Dam in 1889. Over 2,000 people in the town were killed when the dam broke after a weekend of heavy rain. Disaster relief was spearheaded by none other than Clara Barton and the Red Cross. The flood survivors battled with the dam owners and their faulty dam, and they lost in court, but ultimately they changed American laws in the process to protect others from negligence in the future. Next, we have Vaccines Change the World. This is in the Science in Action series. This is a nonfiction title by Gillian King Cargill that features a historical overview of life saving medical inventions in history. She starts with smallpox, which was the first vaccine created, and then profiles cholera, the plague, tetanus, diphtheria, measles, mumps, and rubella, the flu, and more. It has a lot of illustrations, some cartoon styling, photos, maps, and diagrams to keep kids engaged. Next, we have The Getaway. This is by Lamar Giles, and if you love Jordan Peele horror movies, this one is for you. The main character is a boy named Jay and his family, and this is in the future. It's a dystopian, and essentially, the world is plagued by climate change and poverty and racism. There are fires, flooding, drought, other natural disasters. And Jay and his family were actually selected to work at this resort, this vacation resort, which has ended up becoming the safe location from people who are trying to get away from all of the other natural disasters that are happening. But it ends up being like a psychological thriller because are they really safe in this resort? And what are they trading to be a part of that system in which this vacation resort is being used to protect them or to keep them there? So find out what happens in The Getaway by Lamar Giles. Next, we have Muhammad Najem, War Reporter. This is a graphic novel by a real teenager in Syria. Muhammad Najem has lived in Syria and has suffered and survived the Syrian war over many years. And he picked up a phone and he started profiling all of the things, terrible things that are happening in his community and in his country. You can find his Instagram page today and see what he's doing and how he's still being a volunteer for justice and trying to put the spotlight on what's happening in the Syrian war. It's incredible. Check out the Instagram page and this graphic novel. All right, next we have The Davenports. This is by Crystal Marquise. This is historical fiction. This is 1910 Chicago, and this features a wealthy Black family of elites with three siblings, Olivia, John, and Helen. If you liked the Bridgerton series on Netflix, this is for you. This historical fiction title was inspired by a real life family, the wealthy C.R. Patterson family, who made carriages at the turn of the century. Each of the Davenport children is experiencing different themes and topics from being so wealthy at a time when slavery has ended, but yet Jim Crow is still alive and well. Find out what happens to the Davenports. This is the first in the series and very popular. Next, we have Ben Franklin's Almanac. This is a biography about one of our famous founding fathers. Ben Franklin is the guy that did the electricity with the kite. He was also involved with the Revolutionary War. He was involved with the Constitutional Convention. There's lots of maps and different sidebars and pieces of his writing, newspaper clippings. This is a tremendous biography by Candace Fleming. Loved it. Next, we have Steve Sheinkin's Bomb. This is also a graphic novel that of the same name of the original book, which is also called Bomb. You can read either one, but this is about the race to build the atomic bomb that was used during World War II. It's all about spies and espionage and the science race regarding the Manhattan Project. So you can read either one. This is the graphic novel version. We have both. Excuse me. Next, we have Friday I'm in Love. This is Cameron Garrett. This main character is 16-year-old Mahalia, and she is a queer Black teen whose mom had promised to give her a sweet 16 party since she was very young. Her birthday's coming up and mom can't afford it. Her mom's also very religious, and Mahalia has not come out to her mother yet. So she decides that she's going to throw herself a coming out party instead of a sweet 16. And she's trying to figure out some different pieces in her life. She has a crush on an Irish exchange student named Siobhan, who happens to be dating this other racist white guy who she's not fond of. I think this book does well in showing how teenagers really take on too much, and they're very stressed out and juggling lots of activities, jobs, sports, school, friends, romance. Find out what happens to Mahalia. Lastly, we have African Town. This is a nonfiction story. It's a fictionalized verse novel. It's an account of the last slave ship that was ever brought to the United States from Africa. And it happened in 1860 when there was a ban on importing enslaved peoples. A man named Timothy Mayer made a bet that he could do it anyway, and he imported a group of folks who were imported illegally. After he did it, he sank the boat to hide the evidence, and this is the verse novel about what happened to the boat, the Clotilda. This is a true story in verse novel. This is by Irene Latham and Charles Waters, African Town. And then lastly, we have, last but not least, my favorite, The Ghosts of Rose Hill. This is a tremendous title. The main character, Ileana, her name is Ileana Lopez. She was sent to Prague, which is in Czechoslovakia in Europe, for the summer with her older aunt because she's not doing well in school, and her parents think she needs some time with her aunt in Prague. She starts hanging around a Jewish cemetery, and this novel enforces a ghost story with some fantasy thrown in. Who wouldn't want to fall in love with a ghost in a cemetery? This book combines Judaic tradition with fantasy, and it's super creepy and romantic. And Ileana is a Jewish student, so loved it. This is 11 of the best books this year that I think you should check out. Let's do a quick back through. Bomb by Steve Sheinkin. Friday I'm in Love. The Davenports. Ben Franklin. Muhammad Najem. Vaccines Change the World. The Getaway. We Are Also Good at Smiling and Flooded. I hope you found something that works for you. If not, come and see us in the library and we'll help you find something for summer reading. Thanks, Falcons. Stay tuned for more screencasts.